And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
Flying weather, first day of the weekend, Saturday morning. A lot of IFR here for the Bering Sea, all of the Aleutians, right on up Kodiak Island, areas of Cook Inlet into Prince William Sound, North Gulf Coast. Otherwise, VFR here over the interior, and then some moisture bringing some IFR into the central western Arctic coast and into the Chukchi Sea. Southeast coast, VFR for the morning hours, and that continues through the afternoon as well for the panhandle here. Marginal VFR now along the North Gulf Coast and areas there. VFR, Kodiak Island, Cook Inlet, all the way up to the North Slope and maybe even out to portions of the Arctic coast. Could have some areas of lower conditions there along the coast. Otherwise, the VFR or the IFR really pulling back to the west and north here as that system out over the Bering Sea weakens and the front washes out here along the southwest coast. Holds together enough here along the Alaska Peninsula and to the south to keep some IFR going there on the south side. Otherwise, for Sunday morning, IFR increases a little bit here over the northern and western Bering Sea, staying west of Amchitka Island. Otherwise, marginal VFR right up to the coastline. The interior, good VFR. Here from Cook Inlet and the Kenai Peninsula, right on up again across the Brooks Range out to the Arctic coast. And VFR, mostly VFR for the southeast coast. And for the afternoon, lower conditions here burn off to VFR for the entire Kenai Peninsula, Prince William Sound area, maybe some marginal VFR possibly for Yakutat. The remainder of the southeast coast, though, staying VFR right through the weekend and good VFR in the interior. Passes, Hanatuvik and Adigan, VFR in the forecast for both passes in the Brooks Range. The entire Alaska range forecasting VFR flying through all the passes here. Windy, Isabel, and Mentasta. Tanita, same thing, VFR. And VFR for Portage. Could be some early morning low stuff possibly here, especially on the east side. Maybe the west side, but that'll burn off quickly. And you have a VFR day. For Chilkoot and White, VFR. And for the freezing levels here, that cold pool aloft kind of sliding southeastward here, keeping it around 6,000 feet for the freezing level over the panhandle, and roughly 8 to 10,000, 8 to 9,000 feet over the interior here, 6,000 feet western Arctic coast, and some cooler air out there as you can see over the central Bering Sea. Otherwise, icing, not a lot. Some possible areas of isolated moderate rime icing here for the North Slope Arctic coastal areas back in toward the northwest coast. And back down along where this front washes out here along the southwest coast, could be some areas of icing in that zone there, especially down over the Alaska Peninsula, and then some scattered areas out over the Bering Sea affecting Adak and Atka. And moving on to the jet stream, 33,000 feet, upper level high pressure right over the interior, westerly flow on the north side of that about 65 knots, south to southeast 80 knots across the northern Bering Sea and about 70 knots across the southwest interior. Otherwise, southeast winds at about 70 knots here as this low slowly slides southeastward there, southwest of the Queen Charlotte Islands. And for 9,000 feet, this low pulling up toward the Russian coast there. So strongest winds here coming into St. Lawrence Island up to 55 knots there. Otherwise, ahead of that weakening front, we've got southerly winds anywhere from 35 to 45 knots and west up to 40 knots there near or just off the eastern Arctic coast. 3,000 foot winds, light for the panhandle into the Gulf, central, eastern interior, all the way up to the Arctic coast, all looking at light winds. And you can see this narrowing, diminishing band of gusty southeast winds, anywhere from 40 to maybe as high as 50 knots here, as just south of St. Lawrence Island. And from there, taking a look at turbulence. Of course, the Aleutians, no winds, so no turbulence there. Light to isolated moderate for the Alaska Peninsula on up into the southwest coastal areas here. And the best chance of anything more significant would be here northern Bering Sea, St. Lawrence Island, down to possibly St. Matthew Island.